Aiden Schlett from New Jersey. That's my roommate. And then we got Colin Kerrigan from Illinois. And then Jake Daly's back there too.
Hey, who is the dirtiest roommate?
The dirtiest roommate, Jake Daly, supposedly. Luke Simcox keeps complaining about his laundry. So
that's sort of like what's fun about being on a college team is like.
No, yeah, it's cool so far because we're all right next to each other and we're always in each other's rooms, eating each other's food and stuff.
Yeah. How was that compliance meeting yesterday?
It was stupid. We had to go to it's called the Loudermilk Center. It's connected to the football field, and then we just sit with all the other athletes and ate dinner and talked about like academic honesty and had to like do a sample writing thing. It was all right, but
so you had to write too while you were there?
Yeah, it was kind of annoying, but
at least you got dinner though.
Yeah, it was cool. We got a bunch of pizza and we took a box of pizza home to eat later, so it was pretty cool.
I feel like with those compliance meetings, dude, like I never paid attention, but then after what was happening with like the Iowa guys and how they lost their eligibility because some stuff was talked about in the compliance meeting that they didn't pay attention to. I'm like, crap, because I didn't even know. I knew that was a rule, but I didn't know that was something that was strictly enforced.
Yeah, we were actually one of the only teams I thought paying attention. Like we were doing the writing thing and we look up and all the other teams aren't really doing it, but it's a good look, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Well, how was the move out there? You've been there for it's been like a week, right?
Yeah, it's been about a week and a half. It was pretty easy, honestly. I just brought 2 bags filled with. It's pretty cool.
You cut out just for a second. I don't know if it was me or you. Do you mind saying that again?
Oh yeah. The move-in was pretty easy. I mean, I just brought a bunch of bags of clothes and my guitar and threw everything in my room. It's been pretty easy so far.
Did you drive out there or did you fly out there?
I just flew out here, by myself. Actually, with Platt and Navita, actually.
Yeah, I saw it, dude. That's kind of cool that all 3 of you guys are over there.
Yeah, it's sick. It's a little piece of back home.
Yeah, for sure. And they split you guys up, I'm sure, right? You guys are all.
Yeah, I was supposed to room with Platt, but he got put with Navita, so I'm with Schlett now.
That's okay though.
That's cool.
I read this article that you play guitar and then you just mentioned it. So what songs can you play?
I just brought my acoustic out here. Usually I play my electric, but I've been trying to learn a bunch of like country songs like Zach Bryan and stuff just that I can play on this. So
yeah. Do you like country music?
I'm trying to get more into it. I actually just got a pair of boots the other week. So
nice.
Figured I'd get into it before I got out here. So
you're just you're embracing the South.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was looking at when obviously I was watching you wrestle in the finals this past season. Dude, you were air guitaring like during the face-off.
I know. I was listening to the song on the speakers, I think. I just do that by habit, to be honest.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was maybe like part of your pre-match routine or I think maybe it was I'm trying to think what song. I don't think it was Crazy Train, but it was like something like that.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of old music, to be honest. My dad always played songs when I was growing up and I just stuck to him. So he kind of gave me my taste of music.
Yeah, like I don't know, name me a couple.
I listen to a lot of like Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Black Sabbath, stuff like that. So
yeah. What's your favorite Led Zeppelin song?
Right now I've been listening to Going to California a lot.
Yeah.
It's fitting, I think. So
when you go back and visit.
Oh yeah, California, I'm gonna be listening to that on the plane, looking out the window, It'll be cool.
So what's the training been like?
Well, they had this like little competition camp going on with a bunch of the class of 25 and 26. So they were all out here for a week. And we were doing 2-day practices. They were pretty tough, but I felt like I got up to speed pretty quickly. And then this week we started lifting in the weight room by the football field. So that's been cool. We've been practicing in the morning and then doing lifts in the afternoon. It's been sick.
Dude, I love practicing in the morning. I feel
get it out of the way. Good way to start your day. Hop in the cold plunge and then go to class right after. So pretty busy.
I had Myers on right after the state tournament, and he was saying you guys have kind of like a PE wrestling class, and you guys get practices in too. Like that's gotta be
No, that's sick. Yeah, you have an extra period where you don't have a class you have to sit through, and you just get to go wrestle, get it out of the way before you leave school. So
When you're wrestling, I mean, so I guess how are the practices structured up there? You said there was a camp going on. Is it a little bit more hands off, where you kind of get to work on wherever you feel like you need to work on, or?
no, it's been pretty instructional, but we've been doing a lot of sparring and stuff, probably just because they're trying to see where we're at with each other and some of the other guys in the room. But usually we'll just do a warm up, kind of start off drilling, do whatever you need to do, and then they'll hop into some technique, and then we'll just move into sparring and live. So
You guys are, is it probably mostly sparring and not too much live, or is it kind of
yeah,
more
we're
live?
we're not really getting into like the heavy live yet, but we've done a couple days where like 5 minute goes, or like 30 minutes of some hard live, but not too much. I don't think they want to wear us down that quick. So
No, I mean, like summertime, it's like, dude, everybody wants to wrestle live, but if you're
yeah,
sparring and you're just getting a lot of reps in of
yeah,
drilling, like,
it's the
that's
place you're
what you
supposed to be
love.
building. So
Do you feel like you're pretty used to like a college level room, just kind of coming out of Poway?
yeah, actually, I was talking to some of the other guys about this because we had our lifts today, and some of the other guys haven't really like done an actual like lifting program before, and just made me think back and think of how grateful I am that I got to like grow up in that room and be around that atmosphere and just get used to it early on. I feel like it's helped me transition pretty easily.
And you were been there since the beginning, right? At Poway?
Yeah, I came over about like sixth or seventh grade, so like started my middle school all through my high school career. Yeah.
Do you feel like the way that you trained, like at what point do you feel like you started taking wrestling like serious? Was it like
Um,
that seventh grade?
well, I wouldn't say started taking it seriously. I feel like a lot of my early wrestling career, honestly, I was just doing it because I felt like I had to do it, and then I kind of started falling in love with it at the end of my eighth grade year, and then it started paying off because I enjoyed doing it and I was working harder than I had. So by the end of my freshman year, I kind of figured out I was starting to get good, and just took off from there. So
Dude, definitely like having a little bit of success kind of changes things, you
no,
know?
yeah, it sucks when you're working super hard and then you're going to tournaments and you're right there and you're not. It's just not clicking yet. But I don't know. I just kind of had that moment where it clicked, and then yeah,
It's too hard otherwise, man. Like I don't think this
yeah,
could ever be something that most people, especially when they're younger, are like willingly going to put themselves through.
no,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, for sure. And then those you got those kids that they come in the room a little bit during high school like they've never wrestled before, and I can't imagine that it's fun if you're not doing too well. To be honest, I wouldn't want to do it.
no, I mean, especially too. I mean, Coach Myers is saying he kind of has the room pretty open. So like, if somebody hasn't
Yeah.
wrestled before and they want to come in, it's like, all right,
Mhm.
like you got to be able to hang though, and that's
Yeah,
getting your butt whipped every day probably sucks.
yeah, but it makes you good. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as long as you keep that like that good state of mind,
yeah, that
it's like you're.
tenacity, you got to keep that for
Are there
sure.
things like at some point, you're going to reach the college level? I'm going to do air quotes grind.
Yeah.
What are some things that maybe you think about because you've been through the grind before? Now that you're jumping to the next level, I guess what are some things that you feel like you have to kind of think about or utilize to kind of keep yourself in the right headspace?
Um, Honestly, before coming out here on the plane, I was thinking about like starting as a freshman in high school, and then how you like it kind of you're not very good, and then you end on the top, and it's literally just like you're starting over again. You're a freshman, so seeing what jumps I have to make and thinking about the things that those older guys are doing that I'm not right now that I'm gonna have to adjust to. So I've been working on a few things.
Yeah, would you mind sharing like some of the things that you
Uh,
feel like you need to work on?
Definitely the hand fighting. Like I went with some of the guys around my weight that have been in the room for a while, and just heavier hands, like longer pulls and snaps, just wearing on guys' necks for sure. Um, and definitely just my pace going out to the U.S. Open. I feel like I gassed myself a little early in matches because I was going out too hard, and wrestling some of the guys in the room here. They definitely just try to wear on you for a few minutes before they start really going for scores and stuff, get you tired first. So that's something that I'm going to try to work into my wrestling.
That college level hand fight's different.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's just trying to be like efficient with your energy because
You got
obviously
that extra minute too. So
yeah, the match is longer, and everybody's good, and
no easy matches anymore is the other thing. Like you're not just gonna pull up to a duel and wrestle a kid that doesn't really know what he's doing. Like you're gonna pull up to a duel and wrestle a kid that's been nationally ranked or like is a state champ every time. So just being ready for that every time.
The big thing that got me was when as I got a little bit older, we go into duels with teams that weren't like Division I. I would kind of be like a little bit relaxed with my weight, or like I wouldn't do it the right way.
Yeah.
And then a couple of times
They
it kind of
catch you,
got
huh?
me.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, like I barely won that one, and I just wrestled like crap.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like you didn't really cut too much weight last year, did you?
For 145, I cut it was a hard cut. It wasn't too bad. My whole sophomore year I was underweight for 152, and I feel like it helped me do as good as I did. Like on the third day of state, I felt great. I felt like I just had practiced the day before, not like I wrestled the tournament and cut weight. But these last 2 years I try to keep it like 9-10 pounds. I feel like anytime I go above that, you start feeling it at the end of the match. Like your gas tank is not as good and your muscles give out quicker. So
do they at UNC, do they talk about like the ways that they want you to kind of manage your weight, or do they talk about nutrition at all, especially right now in the off season?
Yeah, we just had our physicals done and we got blood work and stuff, and then they had us meet with our nutritionist right after. So I talked with her about how I'm trying to gain some weight because those guys at 157 are pretty big. And then she gave me like a sample meal plan, and they've given us a couple meals to eat throughout the day. So nutrition I think is important for them, and I'm sure we'll talk about like cuts more when we get closer to the actual season.
Yeah, that's something that, especially at the high school level, like people forget. It's like you need to keep putting the right things in your body during the summer. Like that's where you're going to make the biggest gains. If you're chilling, and you're just eating a ton of ice cream, and that's
you're gonna
not,
feel it during the season.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You want to be able to utilize this time to put on some good mass, and obviously as you're making that adjustment, feel good at practice.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, so thinking about the state tournament, you've been on kind of all sides of it, I think, to a degree. I want to go back a second. When Miguel first wrestled you, dude, you hit that pretty nice wrist tap low single to the other side. I want to say this, dude. Immediately I took that. I'm like, all right, I went to our youth club, but like, if you want to learn how to take down people like Miguel, you got to utilize this wrist tap series.
Yeah, man,
when
he's
you're
hard.
Like,
he's a hard guy to score on. He's
dude,
tough.
He's got like these
he's
little
a block.
arms.
Yeah, he's locked down. For sure.
I mean, you're pretty hard to score on yourself, though, man. Like, I think about all these guys that have gotten your legs, and it's like, dude, you're a pretty good scrambler. Your hands are always in the right spot. You can do the splits. You're flexible. You got really heavy hips. Was that something that you feel like you've kind of just developed over time, or is this something that you just kind of naturally able to do?
Well, flexibility wise, I feel like I've always been pretty flexible. But in terms of like the split, like leg defense, I kind of just started doing that this year just because we started play wrestling more, and I would always see guys putting themselves in that position. So I did it, and then I don't know, I just started messing around like fighting wrists and stuff, and it turned out to work. So it kind of just became instinct, almost to like a bad degree in a match where I would just go straight to that, and then go back to a sprawl if I have to. But
yeah, the splits thing, it's kind of like once you learn it, it's like you forget sometimes that you have baseline defense too.
Yeah, and you brought up things that I'm going to have to change coming to college, and that's probably going to have to be one of them, because as much as I think it works, there's going to be guys that are just too good and too strong, and it's just not good to rely on that. So I'm going to start trying to get my baseline defense a little better too.
Well, it's kind of like how you said earlier, the whole philosophy in hand fighting is kind of wearing people down. If I'm getting your legs and it's a battle, like I have to try to beat your hip every single time, that's going to wear me down too.
Yeah, on your neck and heavy on your shoulders. So definitely thinking about that too.
When you think about, well, after that state semis, when we shook hands, you were like, last year hurt, man. And I know it did. And I don't take it personally. Like I love competition. I think it's awesome. That you got that win. And I think back, this is maybe the second time I watched it and getting ready for this podcast. And I see Coach Myers is getting so fired up in the corner. And I know he's right there battling with you. one of the things I think is super important, especially as you make this transition to college, is like, how do you respond to setbacks? Right. It's like when things don't go your way, it's like, how do you kind of double down and you're able to, I guess, adjust and be able to move forward?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the things that really has made me such a good wrestler. It's like I wasn't always like those kids you see like just killing it when they're in middle school and like blah blah blah. I got my butt whooped for a few years and really didn't crack like the top guys until like the end of my sophomore year. Like so just being able to know that eventually like if I keep working as hard as I can, good things will come. And Miguel, honestly, like if I didn't lose that state semis or that state finals match, I might have gotten complacent and I might have not as done as well my senior year. Like he pushed me, like thinking about that every day, going to sleep thinking about that, like give me something to wake up and work towards every day. So I think they help to a certain degree, even though they suck. But
Yeah. I mean, for one, like, dude, that weight class was so much fun from
yeah,
like a fan and
yeah,
competitor perspective. It's like any one of you guys between Parco, Mantanona, Miguel, and you, obviously, the margin for error is so small, and the
no, yeah,
matches just were, dude, that
one
state.
exchange.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
one
literally, it's
exchange
like
changes the
what
whole
it comes down
match.
to.
Yeah.
When you think about, I guess, did you know like how tough that the weight was going to be coming in? Because I think maybe Zepeda at one point was ranked at that weight too, and Flo did like a little video on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a conversation I had with coaches before the year. I told them that I wanted to stay down, like they were thinking about bumping me up, but I don't know. I felt like if I were to move weights after those rankings came out, they already had me at 150. Like I was copping out. Like I don't know. I felt like I could hang with those guys. Like I could beat anybody in the country. So why would I? Why would I not stick in that weight?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too with I mean, I think too, it's like also with the perspective of you guys are trying to win a team title as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah.
That's kind of another thing. I mean, you guys have kind of came up short the couple of years prior to last year.
Yeah.
Was that something that, I guess, like, what were some things from your perspective that either were maybe altered a little bit, or what was like the conversations like in the room as you guys were getting ready for this next season? Like, you guys are loaded up and down the lineup. And that
Yeah.
doesn't come easy. It comes with a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, we knew how good we were coming into the season, like, but definitely just not letting that get to your head. And everybody's got to do their job. Like it's you can't just think you're gonna win a state title because you've got a good team. Like anybody can show up. Everybody's trying to win, you know. So you got to show up in those matches and just. I think the emphasis this season was put the work in the room and then just wrestle as hard as you can for those 6 minutes. And if you're wrestling as hard as you can, the outcome will take care of itself. So that's what I thought about this year.
You guys are all pretty close too, right?
Yeah, it's like a family in that room. I miss it.
I mean, that's kind of what's fun about the fraternity of wrestling. It's like that
Yeah.
doesn't, those relationships, obviously you're not around each other all the time, but that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
go away. That's going to be something in, 25 plus years. You're like, dude, we broke the team scoring record. We won a
No,
team state
yeah,
title.
yeah, for sure. Um, we've already talked about like after college, we're all going to come back to San Diego because like we did spend like we were there every day with each other, putting in work in the room and then hanging out for hours before and after practice. Like we really did. Like we were like brothers. So it'll be cool.
Is that something that you feel like was like you guys kind of took that on yourselves, or was that something that, the coaches had kind of tried to build up that kind of culture?
I think definitely the coaches had an emphasis on that, like a family aspect. But I think just being in a room where you're working that hard every day and scrapping with those guys, like there's no way you're not gonna grow close from going through that struggle together, you know?
And you become almost invested in each other's wrestling too.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
when you're, yeah,
You
go
cop
ahead.
on each other and you just push on each other and police each other. So it does help. Yeah.
I remember it was Battle for the Belt 2 years ago when they had that delay because the streaming wasn't
Mm-hmm.
working out, and it was like super rainy and cold. And I go in to make sure Miguel was warming up. I look over and you guys are all just like wrestling around in the middle, just acted like goofballs. And I'm like, dude, like this, there's something like I think unique about you guys as a team where it's like that maybe
Yeah.
isn't as common.
For sure. I think, I mean, we knew what we were doing. Like
Yeah.
I think in the back of our heads, like, oh, we're in the middle of the mat, we're all together. Like if everybody sees us messing around, like, I don't know. Every time we've been all over the country together, and we just like, I don't know, we're a pretty easygoing team, and we're fun. Like I feel like we joke around a lot, and I feel like that's good. You don't want to be too serious. Like you see those wrestlers in college, like they just take things too seriously, and then those Penn State guys, like you see them warming up before their match, and they're laughing around. They're not even really warming up too hard, and those are the guys that pull it off, you know. So our coaches see that, and they try to tell us to be loose and have fun and just put your faith in your work. So
Is that being calm and just trying to be relaxed? Is that a big part of your like pre-match routine? Would you say?
yeah, for sure. I think that's what helped me make that next jump. Is like I used to psych myself out so much before matches, thinking about like the outcome when I haven't even stepped on the mat yet. Like it would literally like my legs would feel heavy. Like being nervous takes a toll on you for sure. So figuring out how to get out of my head and going back to saying like if I just work as hard as I can for 6 minutes, I don't have to worry about winning or losing. If I just go and wrestle as hard as I can, whatever happens, happens, and I don't have to be mad at myself. So I feel like that definitely did help me make a big jump.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off, and
Yeah.
then without maybe necessarily overthinking the nerves, because the nerves are going to happen. Like big
Yeah.
events, like it's just going to happen. Is just you
Mm-hmm.
just accept. Yeah, this is a big event. Like of
Yeah.
course there's going to be
Lets you
nerves.
know you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to tire yourself out before thinking about how nervous you are.
Yeah. It really like it does take like a physical toll on your body. And I had to figure it out because I would go out into matches and just be like literally scared stiff and I would choke and it wasn't good. So
How would you describe like your wrestling style? Because I feel like you hit like a bunch of different kinds of attacks, whether
mm-hmm.
it's timing somebody's reach and firing off a double leg from space, or making stuff off of contact, like with that wrist tap series that I was talking about earlier. You have a bunch of different ways to score on your feet. I guess how that style come about, and where do you think it comes from?
um honestly, I think I'm so offensive because of how I wrestled when I was a kid. I was at this club called Team Puma with this guy named Isaac Pumarejo, and he would have me shooting low singles and all sorts of just shoot. Like when I was a kid, I would always just shoot, shoot, shoot. And then I come to Poway and they're teaching us all these attacks, and I'm so offensive minded. And I don't know, really. I don't say that I have like I don't see anybody else that really wrestles like me. I don't know. It's just putting a bunch of different stuff together and being offensive and just get to a leg and figure it out from there, really, I guess.
It kind of allows you to be creative with all your
Yeah.
different ways to finish, and kind of just getting the leg is kind of an entry point, that you can kind of utilize a bunch of different ways to score. And I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it's starting to add up now. You play guitar, like so you're artistic in that sense, and then wrestling is kind of, I think, in a lot of ways your style is a reflection of who you are. So you're a
Yeah.
creative dude.
Yeah. And I feel like wrestling has been, and guitar too, has been like a big outlet. Like if there's stuff going on in my life or like stressing about school, family, whatever, like just going in the room and wrestling and getting to get all that out and figure stuff out. And I don't know, there's something about it that just makes you feel good. So
Playing guitar, is that something that you feel like is a way to kind of balance you out to a certain extent?
yeah, my dad tells me like, I don't know, when you're getting stressed out about wrestling, go do your homework. When you're getting stressed out about your homework, go play guitar. Like it's just like, I don't know, when you're too focused on one thing, it really does like it'll keep you up at night and you stress too much about it. So sitting down and playing songs that I like to listen to and being able to like make music, I think it helps relax me and calm me down. So
You gotta check. Have you seen Almost Famous?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Well, so it's a movie, and it's got just like a lot of like classic yeah, classic songs and bands and stuff in there.
That
But
almost
basically
made it,
this,
but like never did. Right.
yeah, kind of.
Mm-hmm. I
So
think I
it's
heard of
like
that before.
I'm trying to remember the name of the band it's like supposed to be based off of.
Mm-hmm.
But this kid that's like, I don't know, he might be like 17 or 18 or stuff like this. The senior
Mm-hmm.
year of high school just gets caught up traveling the country with this band. But a
Yeah.
lot of good music in there. Yeah, it's good,
Yeah.
pretty good movie. If you get any downtime,
I'll
man.
check it out. Yeah. I'll check it out.
Are you in a dorm right now, or are you in a house?
I'm in a dorm. Yeah. We're in the freshman athlete dorms for the summer. So
Dude, are they hot in there? You
yeah,
got AC?
there's no AC. So I got my fan running in the back.
That was
that's been the biggest
yeah.
change. You step outside and it's 100 degrees and you're sticky because of the humidity, and it's just like, ugh. But
Well, you get it's
different.
like the wrestling room gets warm and you're sweating, and
Oh
then
yeah.
it's like, dude, the worst thing is when like after a workout and you shower and you get out and you're still sweating.
Yeah,
You know,
no, yeah. We shower in the wrestling room, you're all dried off, and then you step outside and you start dripping already. So it's like, yeah,
yeah.
it sucks.
You got the fan though. The fan is a pro move.
No, yeah, I don't think I've turned it off for the whole time I've been here. Literally
What?
sweating right now.
Oh yeah. No, well, I mean, so it's kind of the same thing in this room. You don't do you know who Chance Rich is?
Yeah, I think so.
So he was my roommate for a couple of years, but this is actually his old room. But dude, the
Oh,
thing is, the
nice.
room gets so hot, especially like when the computer's going. So
Oh
like
yeah, for sure.
sometimes I'll do these, man. I'm sweating up a storm.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about one thing. Obviously, following you throughout the past couple of years. But you talk about some stressful things, the recruiting
Ooh,
process
yeah.
for you. Um, I mean, you're free to say whatever you feel like comfortable talking about. But I guess what was your process like? And then I guess why ultimately did you decide to leave and go somewhere else?
Yeah, I think I rushed it, to be honest. Like I think I was too eager to commit, and I feel like I see a lot of that with some kids. And then right after my year, the unlimited visits rule came out. Um, and I just think I didn't even take all my visits, and I think that's my biggest regret. Like, get out there and see what you like. I visited an unofficial to Cal Poly. I went to Wisconsin, Carolina, and then I committed. Um, and luckily, I love it here. I think this place is perfect for me. But it would have been good to get out there and see all those other options too. And then just with the decommitment, uh, coaches wanted me to gray shirt and sit a year, and I felt like that would just be a waste of. I felt like I would be ready to go right away, and I didn't want to sit that year and not be able to start on my school and wrestling. So um, that was one of the big things. And then I don't know, deep down, I kind of felt like I still wanted to go to Carolina. Like I felt like this was the better place for me, and I just kind of rushed that commitment. So
That I like what you said. It does happen a lot, and
yeah.
it's like this process. I guess it's changed now because you have a transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
But before I would say you only really go through this process once.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you ended up in a really cool spot, like Chapel Hill,
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina is beautiful, man. You got mountains, you
Yeah.
got rivers, the ocean's
Got
there.
everything. Yeah.
What would you say outside of like the wrestling part is maybe like one of your favorite parts about being in North Carolina so far?
Um, Definitely like the environment. Like I like being outdoors and going fishing and hunting, and I like to go hike and stuff. And you can do all that in California, but definitely like we've already gone fishing a few times out here. We already got a bunch of poles and stuff, and already way more exciting than in California. So that was pretty cool. I'm excited to go fishing more. But I don't know. I've been in California my whole life, and now I'm halfway, or I am across the country. So I don't know. It's exciting. It's something new. I'm excited to go explore it.
Yeah, stay focused on that, man. Like I
Yeah.
think it's like this is just it's a cool part of your life, and it's
Yeah.
important to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't get homesick too much.
Yeah. I feel like literally since I was a little kid, my dad used to send me up to like Selma for 3 weeks during the summer when I was in middle school and stuff, and I'd stay with like Joey Cruz and Figueroa and all them. So I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of used to being away from home by now. Obviously, I miss my family, but I'm not gonna let it hold me back. So
Yeah, dude, that Selma room back in the day, that
oh
was a
yeah,
tough room. I
oh
think
yeah,
used to call it like the dungeon or something like that.
yeah. It was pretty tough in there. I went in there just as a little shrimp, didn't really know what was going on. It was pretty tough.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think if you're somebody that is able to, I guess, be able to handle it, because everybody's journey is a little bit different. Some
Mm-hmm.
kids can handle that kind of intensity at that age, and some kids can't.
Yeah,
But as of now, dude, it looks like it's paying off.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, having my dad because San Diego wrestling, like really, it's not one of the tougher sections. So my old kids coach told my dad, like, if you want him to get good, send him to the Central Valley, and that's what my dad did. So it's probably a credit to my success to a little extent.
Yeah, well, it just exposed you to other things.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what you're going to study in North Carolina?
I'm probably just gonna go the finance route. I was deciding between that or biology, just because for some reason I wanted to be a surgeon for the longest time when I was a little kid. But it's just probably too tough to balance with school and wrestling. That's one of the main things I had to think about. And I'll still get a good job. I'm good at math, so I think it'll be fine either way.
Yeah, I think everybody that I've known that's tried to do Division One wrestling or Division One sports period and balance it with like nursing or anything
Yeah,
like that,
it's tough.
it's they ultimately either decide to change majors or quit. So
yeah.
Is that I think what's cool about the finance I guess route is, dude, UNC has like a pretty big alumni base. You know,
Yeah,
like the school's
especially
been
with
around for a long time.
yeah, that, and then we got Rob Cole coming in, and he's the man just building connections and getting like internships for us and stuff. So I'm really excited for that part of it too. Like that was a big decision coming here too.
He wasn't there yet when you were getting recruited, right? It was Coleman
No,
Scott.
but yeah, it was Coleman Scott and Jamil Kelly and Ramos. Jamil Kelly and Ramos were really the ones that recruited me. But that was in the back of my head. Like my dad told me about it. He's got some college friends out here in North Carolina, like running banks and stuff, and his kids go to this school, and it's just like the connections part of it. Like you're connected with the richest people in the world, like some of the most smartest people in the world. Like it's a great place to be.
Yeah, you might end up getting stuck out there though, man.
I'd be fine with it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, dude, I feel like it was really cool talking to you, man. Like I think I've come to learn this more and more. But it's like it becomes very easy if you're competing against somebody to kind of like demonize them in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I'm like, dude, like I talked to this guy named Josh Hokett, and we had wrestled a little bit, and I was like,
Yeah.
and then I meet him, and he's like, oh, he's actually a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. That's definitely how it was with Miguel. Like, I mean, we always grew up on like Cali Gold teams and traveling the country and stuff. So we were always pretty close as kids. And then when we started to wrestle, when you have an opponent, you're like, oh, I gotta beat this guy up. Like I hate this guy, but this is the coolest kid. Like he comes up either win or lose, and he's like, "Hey man, that was a great match." Like he's a good kid, and we had each other on Instagram. We Snapchat. It's pretty cool. He's a nice kid. I like him.
Yeah, it's dude, I came. I'm like, dude, like you can be friends after the tournament, man. Stop, stop
I
being
know he's so
bad.
like you're about to wrestle him, and he comes up and he's like, "What's up, man? May the best man win." Like I'm like, "Ah, are you kidding me?"
Yeah,
What makes me mad
actually,
almost.
yeah, what if he's actually doing it just to try to throw you off your game? He's just too nice.
Maybe.
That's just who he is. He's a
Yeah,
goofball.
it's awesome.
Well, Laird, do you got anything else, man? Before we stop recording?
Now I just want to say thank you for having me on.